Today, in this video, we are going to talk about the different types of connectors that are used in networking, and these connectors will vary depending upon the type of network and the cable that they are attached to. Whether that cable is twisted pair, coaxial telephone or fiber optic. The first one we are going to talk about is the RJ45. Now the RJ45 is by far the most common network connector. Now this is a 8-pin connector that is used to connect computers and other network devices in a local area network. The RJ45 is used with unshielded twisted pair cable. Twisted pair cables has 8 wires, and these wires are arranged in a certain orders, and then the wires are inserted into an RJ45 connector, and then they are crimped on both ends using a wire crimper. And then one connector will be plugged into the computer's network card, and then the other end would plug into a device such as switch, modem or router. Then once that is done, the computer will be able to connect to a network. The RJ45 has a single locking tab that locks itself into the place. Now this is a UTP coupler. Now this is not really a connector. This is used for connecting UTP cables which RJ45 connectors to each other. This is typically used when running a longer cable in is not an option. It's just used to extend a network cable by joining two cables together using their RJ45 connectors. So you would just plug one end of the cable into the coupler, and then you would plug in another cable on the other side, and now you are successfully extended your UTP cable. And another type of connector that is similar to the RJ45 is RJ48. The RJ45 looks very similar to the RJ45, but the difference between the two is that the RJ48 is used with shielded twisted pair cable instead of unshielded twisted pair that's used with the RJ45. The RJ48 is primarily used with T1 line, and it's also wired differently than the RJ45. Now this is RJ11 connector. This is 4-wire connector that mainly used to connect telephone equipments. But as far as networking, the RJ11 is used to connect computers to a local area network through the computer's modem. The RJ11 locks itself into place by a single locking tab, and it resembles the RJ45, but it's a little bit smaller. The BNC connector is a type of RF connector that is used with a coaxial cable. BNC stands for Biennial Consulam, and the BNC is used with both analog and digital video transmission as well as audio. Now these connectors are not very common anywhere, but they can still be found on older networks. Now there are many different kinds of BNC connectors. So now we are getting into fiber optic connectors. Now fiber optic networks uses pulses of lights to send data, and there are many different types of fiber optics connector, but I am only going to talk about the most popular fiber connectors. But the main difference between these fiber connectors are the size and the method they are used when coupling. So the first fiber optic connector is called the SC or standard connector, and this is often called the square connectors, and this was one of the first connector to be used in the marketplace. This uses a pulse connector first, similar to audio and video plugs, and these are commonly used between floors in the building. This connector is called MTRJ, which stands for mechanical transfer resistor jack, and this is fiber optic connector that uses a latched pulse connection. It has a smaller form factor that's used for high pack density, and it was designed to replace the SC connectors. The MTRJ uses two fibers into a single design, and it resembles the RJ45. This connector is becoming increasingly popular in fiber networking today. Our next fiber is called as LC or local connector or Lucent connector. Since it was developed by Lucent, now this type of connector is also commonly used between floors in the buildings, and it has designed to compete with the SC connectors. It is about half the size of the SC connector, which makes it better for highly populated racks and panels, and this also uses a latch that locks itself into a place, similar to the RJ45. And our last fiber optic connector is called ST or straight tip. Now this uses a off-twist bayonet type of lock, and it commonly used with single mode fiber optics cable. Now this is a large size connector that was developed by AT, and because of its large size, its usage has declined in favor of smaller connectors such as the LC and the MTRJ. Now just like UTP coupler, there are also fiber couplers. So if you wanted to join two fiber optic connectors, you would use a fiber coupler. Now fiber couplers are used to join or couple two of the same fiber optic connectors, and the two connectors have to be the same. Now these are not to be confused with fiber adapters, because fiber adapters are used for joining two different connectors together. So here we have an example of a fiber coupler joining two ST connectors together.